Hi, my name is Emma, and today I'll be presenting to teachers and educators about some popular models of play therapy, their efficacy, and how the therapeutic powers of play reveal themselves through this therapeutic process. So this presentation is broken into two parts. The first part looks at analysing three different models of play therapy. And then the second part looks at the therapeutic powers of play in the context of a particular model. So we'll begin by unpacking a humanistic model of play therapy, and that's called child-centered play therapy. This is grounded in person-centered theory, and it's important to understand that it's not concerned with diagnosing children or treating symptoms. Its sole focus is on the child and how they present in the moment. So unlike psychoanalytic models, child-centered play therapy focuses on allowing the child to lead the play, and it's not concerned about drawing out particular thoughts or emotions, but these may arise organically as the child explores the play space. Age is almost irrelevant in child-centered play therapy, as development is viewed more as a fluid process where the child has the innate power to grow, mature, and heal themselves. This approach is Rogerian in nature, meaning its fundamental characteristics derive from famous psychologist Carl Rogers, who developed a unique theory of personality where there are three elements at the core of an individual's personality. First, there is the person, the phenomenal field, and then there is the self. The person is comprised of the physiology and the inner thoughts, perceptions, and feelings that one holds about themselves. The phenomenal field is the experience of the child, both conscious and unconscious, internal and external. Interestingly, whatever the child believes is happening is in fact reality for the child. And this very much comes to light through the process of play when they're given the freedom to explore in a safe, nurturing environment. It is essential in child-centered play therapy to understand reality through the eyes of a child to eventually make sense of their behaviour. The self is the final element of personality structure. It centres around evaluation. So these are the key messages children receive from parents, teachers, and the like, and that forms their ideas about themselves. They symbolise themselves as either good or bad, depending on evaluation and reactions from others. Sweeney and Landreth further refined Rogers' concepts of personality and behaviour, and they saw child behaviours as almost inextricably linked to the child's sense of self. So behaviours inconsistent with their own view are disowned under child-centered play therapy. Child-centered play therapy is dependent upon understanding and accepting the child as they are. So it is fundamentally non-directional in nature. While this seems very open-ended and somewhat ambiguous, there are, as Landreth terms, therapeutic objectives. These 9 objectives aim to develop a more positive self-concept for the child. And as the child engages with therapy, they begin to move closer to these objectives. Limit setting is a natural part of child-centered play therapy. It protects the therapist both legally and ethically. Landreth offers an effective model for therapists when responding to behaviours that require limit setting, and he coined the acronym ACT. So this helps therapists to respond to children therapeutically, as A stands for acknowledge and accept the child's feelings and desires, C stands for communicate the limit in a gentle manner, and T stands for target alternatives that still allow the child to express themselves and their emotional state. Child-centered play therapy really operates under the belief that children have the capacity to heal themselves and really become their own internal problem solvers. And just as the focus is on the child and their evolution through the play therapy process, parents and caregivers also have a role under this model of care. So not only do they provide initial informed consent, but they also offer background information to the therapist early on in the piece. Given that child-centered play therapy is not concerned with particular diagnosis, it has an almost limitless clinical application in that it has proven itself effective over time, through space, and in the treatment of a diverse range of cases. So the efficacy of child-centered play therapy has been thoroughly researched and well documented in recent times, with various stakeholders noticing improvement in the treatments of things like anxiety, emotional and physical challenges, problematic behaviours, academic learning, ADHD symptoms, and treating children from traumatic backgrounds, just to name a few. And as you can see, we have a few examples of the studies there as well. After analysing child-centered play therapy, we'll now look at a more integrative approach to play therapy that has also been widely researched. So we're going to look at filial therapy, which combines both play and family therapy. Experts in the field have noted that filial therapy bridges the gap that is often experienced when home life is inconsistent with the limits and safe environment established in child-centered play therapy. So therefore, filial therapy plays a crucial role in empowering parents to maintain a positive relationship with their child. And it really rests on educating parents and teaching them to conduct their own non-directive play sessions. Filial therapy is considered a relatively short-term form of intervention, often spanning between 10 to 20 sessions, and once parents and caregivers gain competence, they are then able to employ those skills learnt in the home environment. It is through this sense that the therapist assumes the role as more of an educator rather than a facilitator. Filial therapy was initially created by doctors Bernard and Louise Gurney in the 1960s, and it's evolved over time and integrated a number of theoretical orientations, including humanistic, psychodynamic, and community psychological principles, just to name a few. You can see there are more listed here too, so interpersonal, cognitive, behavioural therapy and things like that. Like child-centered play therapy, filial therapy is very process-oriented. However, it does set itself apart in some ways in that it sets out to achieve a number of goals. These goals almost always relate back to families becoming stronger, as well as creating a loving home life where there are strong sentiments of trust, belonging, empathy, loyalty, and compassion that are both established and maintained. Therapists working within this model of care use a broad range of methods to accomplish the goals they set out to achieve. Therapists provide caregivers and parents with cognitive restructuring skills that prepares them for dealing with confronting messages that are expressed by their children. They are also explicitly taught how to facilitate child-centered play therapy sessions, and also the basic skills underpinning these. And you can see these include structuring, empathic listening, child-centered imaginary play, limit setting, and interpreting play themes. Filial therapy has proven successful with a diverse range of problems involving both the child and the family. It's been used to address behaviours consistent with ASD and ADHD, as well as anger, trauma, anxiety, and attachment issues, just to name a few. It's also been applied in many settings and proven successful in these settings. These include places like hospitals and even educational settings with teachers. Like any model of play therapy, filial therapy is not free of its challenges. It's often been questioned by parents as ineffective as they fail to see how play enacts change. Additionally, it does require parents to follow through accurately at home, and of course this is not something that can be guaranteed. It is worth mentioning that it may not be a suitable model of therapy for all families experiencing trauma relating to domestic violence, because it really does require the safe implementation at home. A really exciting emerging model of play therapy was developed by Professor Karen Stagniti, and it's called the Learn to Play Therapy Program. Its origins derive from Axline and Vygotsky's theories on cognitive development, where play is believed to involve cognition, and it is also seen as a voluntary process that invites complex skills like problem solving, divergent thinking, and flexibility. Under this model of care, Stagniti further developed the Learn to Play program, which relies on the therapist understanding the child's development in pretend play, and they do use the symbolic and imaginative play developmental checklist. This is important because therapists need to meet the child where they are and understand their zone of proximal development. The program, therefore, consists of activity sheets that specifically target developmental abilities relating to pretend play. While it starts out very directive in nature, it is flexible, and this may change as the child becomes more confident in navigating their own form of pretend play. The Learn to Play program has been tested over a period of 10 years and has proven clinically effective in improving language skills, empathy, as well as initiating and sustaining independent play. These benefits have been noted in case studies of children with ASD. I guess further research into this emerging field of play therapy is needed to understand its efficacy over time and with a diverse range of childhood issues. In essence, the Learn to Play model is a form of therapy that addresses how to play rather than focusing on the meaning behind play. And I guess it's through this lens that the Learn to Play program would not be suitable for children demonstrating play behaviours consistent with their level of cognitive development. However, those children that it does target, it holds wonderful power for them, as it can unlock a new communication method that may help them better understand themselves as well as the world around them. Now we move on to part B, where we look at analysing the therapeutic powers of play in context. The therapeutic powers of play are the change agents that arise organically as the child navigates the play therapy world. Schaefer and Drews identified 20 core therapeutic powers of play that were further categorized into 4 domains based on the connection they shared with the goals of treatment. These domains can be seen on the slide here, and they consist of facilitating communication, where the child feels secure to express themselves, fostering emotional wellness, so the nurturing environment allows the child to explore troubling emotions and fears, enhancing social relationship, where the child gains a sense of empathy through the relationship with the therapist, and increasing personal strength, where the child responds constructively to problems that arise within and beyond the play therapy space. These therapeutic powers offer therapists a targeted approach to effectively treat the child. As Schaefer and Drews assert, they transcend particular models of play therapy, meaning that they can be applied to various models to bring about positive change for the child. Today we're going to look at the therapeutic powers of play in the context of filial therapy. As filial therapy takes on an integrative approach, many of the therapeutic powers of play are unearthed and may be accessed in this form of therapy. 2 specific powers activated within filial therapy are catharsis and abreaction, which fall under the domain of emotional wellness. So children in this model of therapy feel a sense of safety and acceptance, and it is because of this environment that's created by the parents that they feel safe to express strong emotions and also reenact traumatic events that may be troubling them. This form of expression allows the child to sit with uncomfortable ideas, that may be released, and then they may move toward a process of healing. Similarly, parents may experience abreaction as a result of the shared traumatic event expressed in play, thus revealing suppressed emotions and bringing them into consciousness as a way of healing. Two other powers unlocked and almost ignited within filial therapy is that of attachment and the therapeutic relationship, which falls under the domain of enhances social relationships. So when a child plays in the presence of their parents, it provides a strong foundation for both a secure and healthy attachment. The fundamental purpose of filial therapy is to establish and maintain strong attachments in the therapy space and hopefully beyond that. Children relate their experience in the playroom to life outside and feel both supported and encouraged by their parents. Similarly, parents feel supported and encouraged by the therapists as their relationship is grounded in empathy, unconditional positive regard, consistency and attunement. Personal strengths are tapped into during filial therapy, and one of the ways that happens is through creative problem solving. So children are provided with ample opportunity to navigate limitations and unearth their own problems through the creative expression of their play. And in turn, creativity is unlocked for parents as they find new ways to interact, communicate and empathize with their child. Similarly, self-regulation is unearthed in this form of therapy because children learn to understand limits and find constructive ways to cope with problems. Parents also acquire new skills from the therapist to better cope with behaviours that are viewed as problematic. The therapeutic powers of self-expression and direct teaching fall under the domain of facilitating communication, and these are both unlocked during filial therapy. So with self-expression, children are given the freedom to express their inner thoughts and feelings through the metaphorical world of play. Their actions are free of judgment and evaluation, and parents also experience a form of self-expression as they open up to the therapist, revealing new ways of expressing themselves to the child. Direct teaching is sort of inextricably linked to filial therapy because parents are explicitly taught how to facilitate therapy sessions by therapists. And they acquire new skills and apply new techniques in therapy. They replicate their understanding of these at home with a child, and therefore they act as the sole agent of change.